The chief of the Russian General Staff, Valery Gerasimov, said in a conversation with military personnel from his inner circle that the Kursk region will not be liberated before the summer. Moreover, unpleasant incidents related to counterattacks by enemy troops may occur again. Russian telegram channel Kremlevskaya Tabakerka published information about this, citing a source. It is difficult to liberate the Kursk region now due to all the problems. There are losses. Troops are needed in other, more promising areas of the front, and even more. Valery Gerasimov believes that in the current situation, there is a chance to return the entire region this year, but it is unlikely that this will be done by the summer. Most likely, it will be liberated by the end of the year, the source said. Acting Governor of Kursk region Alexander Khinshtein admitted that the region is faced with huge debt and is effectively bankrupt. The budget debt has reached 17 billion rubles, which makes it impossible to pay the families of the dead and wounded soldiers as well as refugees affected by the war. Russian media write, "Today the situation with the Kursk region budget is not just bad, it is very bad," Khinshtein admitted at a meeting with border residents. According to him, the region has not paid money to the families of the victims since July. He only learned about this in December when Putin urgently appointed him crisis manager. In addition, the authorities accumulated debt for goods for refugees forced to leave their homes due to shelling. To pay off this debt, they had to urgently find funds from the reserve fund. The Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk region inflicted not only a military but also an economic defeat on Russia. Since August 2024, part of the region has been controlled by the Ukrainian armed forces despite Putin's repeated orders to drive out Ukrainian troops. According to local authorities, the damage from the war has already reached 750 billion rubles. That's 8 annual budgets of the region. 7,585 houses and more than 500,000 square meters of housing have been destroyed, and this figure will grow. At the same time, the authorities have refused to settle the affected residents to other regions of Russia. They have been offered to buy housing in the Kursk region with their own money. People who lost their homes have already held several rallies demanding compensation. However, officials openly state there is no money in the budget. There is no need to expect help. Khinshtein directly told Kursk residents that the state will not solve their problems. All funds are spent on continuing the war. Kursk Oblast has become yet another region that Russia cannot protect and provide with finances. A blow to the budget, social protests, destroyed cities. This is the real price of Putin's war, which even Russian officials are now beginning to understand.
European Union countries are considering the possibility of mass detention of oil tankers in the Baltic Sea if they are linked to Russia. Politico reports, citing European diplomats and government officials, that negotiations are underway to create legal grounds for such actions. According to sources, the measures under discussion fall into 3 main categories. According to the publication sources, proposals of 3 categories are being discussed. First, the ability to detain tankers based on possible threats to the environment, for example, due to the risk of an oil spill. The second basis for seizing ships was proposed to be piracy laws. They want to include a threat to critical underwater infrastructure under them. We are talking about underwater communication cables, which have already been broken. Finally, if international law fails, countries are discussing jointly introducing new laws. According to officials, it is proposed to create a list of reliable insurers and oblige tankers in the Baltic Sea to use only them. And if other insurers are used, these countries will be able to detain the ships. In particular, a requirement may be introduced for tankers to use the services of insurers from a trusted list, and cooperation with other companies will become grounds for detention. According to experts interviewed by the publication, imposing national laws to detain ships is a very risky move that will likely be challenged under international law. They also believe that it carries the risk of escalating relations with Russia and that such seizure operations would cost millions. However, the Baltic states are openly discussing possible legal measures in this direction, the newspaper writes. We have enough opportunities to act more decisively, and we are going to do this at the EU level, Estonian Foreign Minister Margus Tsahkna told journalists. Lithuanian Defense Minister Sakhalin, in turn, stated that Vilnius is studying legal mechanisms that would allow ships to be detained not only in the country's territorial waters, but also in its exclusive economic zone. According to Associated Press, arts of Russia's Sakhalin region were on high alert on Sunday after a Chinese cargo ship ran aground off the island's southwest coast. According to local authorities, the vessel is a Chinese cargo ship, the Anyang 2, with 20 crew members and 700 tons of fuel oil, 100 tons of diesel fuel and 1,000 tons of coal on board. Authorities said the ship was stranded in shallow waters off Sakhalin's Nevelsky district. The ship is positioned about 200 meters from the shore, and access routes are now being prepared to set up a site for the emergency rescue service to set up coastal barriers, which will prevent a possible release of oil products to the coast, if such a thing happens, Deputy Prime Minister of the region, Alexei Rimsha, said in a briefing. He added that a rescue operation was complicated by bad weather conditions. The governor of the Sakhalin region, Valery Limarenko, said the vessel's crew had made contact with Russian authorities, but that no rescue proposals had so far been made. "We are waiting for the decision of the ship's captain," he said.
Судно лежит примерно в 200 метрах от берега. К нему сейчас готовят подъездные пути для организации площадки. Первое, для работы аварийно-спасательной службы, для выставления береговых заграждений, которые предотвратят возможный выброс нефтепродуктов на берег, если такое будет. Оборудование будет завезено сегодня и установлено сегодня, поскольку устанавливается оно с берега. На эту же площадку сегодня будут завезены боновые заграждения, необходимые для закольцовки судна с моря, но устанавливаться они будут по улучшению погоды.